Hello, this is SJ Talks in Life coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Please and thank you. I had to take a little break from YouTube because my leg's been acting up, and it just seems like every time I take this muscle relaxer that they had me on for my legs, my muscle spasms, it seemed like it just throws me off a loop. It makes me loopy for at least a couple of days. I still feel a little loopy. So I don't really like to take it unless I have to. But then when I do take it, it just throws me off for a couple of days. It makes me really tired and sluggish. And so I've been dealing with that. But anyway, anywho, I wanted to dispel some myths about um, the food stamp program here in the United States, predominantly in the United States. I wanted to dispel. I was on Facebook, kind of got pissed off because I hate classism. I hate classism. I hate it. I hate racism. I hate sexism. And I hate classism and colorism. I gotta throw that in there too. Anything with ism on the end, I hate it. Anything that got that ism on the end, I hate it. I hate classism, and I hate it when the one thing about a lot of people in the United States is that they have the tendency to look down on people that's in poverty. I have an issue with that. I have a serious issue with that. And because I don't feel like you should look down on anybody, because nobody has the right to look down on anybody because of their income, whatever. Because first of all, you don't know what kind of situation that you're gonna be in. You may look up one day and find yourself on governmental assistance. See, people get so high and mighty. People get so high and mighty, and they think that when they get to a certain level, that things can't happen to them. You know, people get so high and mighty, and it really grinds my gears when people do that. They get so high and mighty, and they think that they could never be in that situation. But let me tell you something. When we during this pandemic that we've had going on, and people lost a lot of jobs, people were losing their jobs and stuff. People that was not on the food stamp program, on the SNAP program, had to found themselves down there trying to get on the SNAP program. People that had never been on it ever before in life had to find themselves relying on the system to get SNAP benefits. Yes. So we never know what situation we're going to be in. You know, you get these people that live in these hurricane territories, like New Orleans. New Orleans always get hit really bad. But the people that live in hurricane territories or tornadoes, well, Michigan has tornadoes too, but I know they get them really bad in Oklahoma. People that live in, hurricane or tornado territories, them type of states, a natural disaster can happen anywhere. It doesn't matter where you live. A natural disaster can happen anywhere. That's just the times we're living in. But when we hear about these hurricanes happening in these different places, and these people losing their homes, like people pretty much just lose everything. They lose everything. And then they have to rely on the government to assist them because they've lost everything. They don't have a home. They have nothing. So we never know. It could take a major disaster or a house fire or a terminal illness. Like if a person gets a terminal illness, I know if people get cancer, you get cancer, it can wipe you out. You get cancer, it can wipe you out financially because if you're really bad, you can't work. you know. And there's a lot of people that find themselves. I was just reading on a blog the other day that the lady said that she got really sick. She was sick for 2 months and had to be in the hospital. Then she was disabled afterwards. Um, in even my situation, I didn't know that I did not know when I left my job. If you just look at my channel on a regular basis and you look back into my archives, when I did a video right shortly after I left my job, and I did not think it. I didn't know that I was going to be off work, and going into disability. I I I had no idea. I had no idea that I was even disabled. I didn't know how bad my back was. I didn't know how bad my hands were. I didn't know how bad my legs were until I went and got the medical the paperwork done, or the excuse me, I when I went and got my MRI and all that done, when I went and got those intense tests, because X-ray is only going to tell you so much. But once I got my MRIs done and all that kind of stuff, and I found out the seriousness of what was going on with my back, and then all that pain started kicking in, even worse, and everything. That's when it really hit me that I was actually disabled and I was not going to be in a position to go back to work like I thought I was going to be able to go back. And last 2 years has been the most challenging, rough 2 years of my life. Now, I've never been one to look down on anybody, but I tell you, what I went through, I wouldn't put on my worst enemy. Because you guys have no idea what it's like to not be in a position to where you physically cannot work, and you know you can't go out and you can't earn any money, and it's by the grace of God he made a way. He made a way, you know, and it just made me more appreciative. It just I tell you, it made me more appreciative. It made me more faithful, have more faith, everything. Because I call myself taking a leap of faith when I left this. Not the first time I've done that. God said, "This is going to be the faith test of your life, young lady." He said, "You're going to be off work more than 3 weeks. This is going to be the faith test of your life." And it literally was the test of faith of my life, because I ain't never was never in that situation. So I was put in a position to where I really had to trust God. I really had to trust Him. And that is not easy to do. But I tell you, you don't know. I did. That's my own personal experience, but none of us know what we're gonna have to go through. We don't know, and It's like some people get in an accident and they become disabled, and you just don't know what situation, and nobody knows what situation they're gonna be in, to where they might be that one going down getting public assistance and getting on some type of assistance. So it's not okay to judge anybody. It's not okay to look down on people and judge people and assume things about them just because they're on public assistance or they're a certain income level. It's just not okay. Because any one of us, I found myself in that situation. Any one of us can find ourselves in a situation to where, and yes, I had to go down and get. I'm not gonna lie, I don't put my business out there, but I had to go down and apply for food stamps, which I was on food stamps before, but I didn't at my age. I didn't want to have to be running down there at my age and applying, but I had to do what I had to do, because I'm the type of person, pride ain't never put no food on my table. I am never too proud to ask for help, and I'm type like I always thought that when I was raising my hey, pride never put no food on my table. So I knew I had to do what I had to do, and I knew that I wasn't, if I was able to work, you know, then I do what I have to do. But you know, I was a little bummed out going down there at my age. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to go to depend on it at this stage in my life. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? But none of us don't never know what we're gonna have to go through. None of us never know what we're gonna have to go through. So don't never look down on other people. Don't never do that. Don't never look down on other people because you don't know what situation you're gonna be in. We're supposed to have empathy. This thing called empathy. We're supposed to have empathy. The Bible says we're supposed to help one another. We're supposed to help the poor, not look down on them. And even if it's a situation like people talk about homeless people, I know I'm getting way off topic, but people talk about homeless people and they bash homeless people, and they say they assume that all homeless people are on drugs. That's a whole nother topic, but all homeless people are not on drugs. Everybody, there's this channel on here, Atlanta Street Interviews, with this black guy. There is a large black homeless population in Atlanta. It's really really alarming. I suggest you go over to that channel, check it. His channel's called Atlanta Street Interviews, and he interviews the homeless people. Another channel on here is called Invisible People. This man, he's out of L.A. and I think he's got over 1 million subscribers now. But I've mentioned his channel quite a few times on here. Invisible People. I'm telling you, if you check out those two channels, it's a real eye opener for you. It's a real eye opener, and then these everybody got different situation. Except this Atlanta Street, this guy that does Atlanta Street Interviews, he's doing better because me and a lot of other people have had to check him in his comment section because he be asking them about their sex life and stuff like that. He's cut back a lot, but he still does that. And then if someone has been sexually abused in their past, he was like in the beginning he was asking for details, and you never ask someone that has endured sexual abuse, you never ask them for details unless you're a therapist or something. But this guy is just interviewing homeless people, and I know me and a lot of other people used to come in his comment section and check him about that. Like, why is you asking about these people? Want these people to go into detail about their sex life or whatever? He still kind of goes there, but he's doing a lot better. So we've had to check him on that because he gets a little bit too personal. But yeah, it's a real eye opener. There is a large homeless population in Atlanta, black homeless population in Atlanta, and it's really, really alarming. And everybody got a different story. Everybody got a different story, you know. And some of them are on drugs, some of them not. But people automatically assume this because someone's homeless. Here in Michigan, we have a homeless problem. It's in every state. People automatically assume that everybody that's homeless is on drugs. So they don't want to help them, you know. Now some people do be out there skimming and scamming, and some of them are on drugs, but even if they are on drugs, they still gotta eat, you know. So we are not to judge. Every person that is on drugs, there's a story behind it. There's a story behind every drug addiction. I promise you that. I personally dealt with someone that was on drugs. And it's a story. Everybody has a story. There is a story behind every drug addiction. So we are not to judge them. We're supposed to pray for people. Instead of judging people and talk about folks, we're supposed to pray for folks. You pray for them. You don't judge them. You don't talk about them. You pray for them. That's what we're supposed to be doing, especially if you call yourself a follower of Christ. If you call yourself a follower of Christ, you call yourself a Christian, okay, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Plain and simple. You know, we are to pray for people, not judge people. If you can't help them financially, sometimes the best thing you can do is pray for them. So I hate that. I'm sorry to get completely off a topic, but I just hate it when people look down on poor people, you know, the less fortunate. The American economy is really tough. It's this, especially now with everything that went up with gas prices and food prices. Food prices is skyrocketed. Housing prices, people been getting put out their house because the landlords want to jack up the price. It's real bad in New York. Landlords want to jack up the price and everything, and people been getting put out of their house. But people still want to sit and judge people. The American economy is it's expensive. America is expensive. It's expensive to live here in America, and you got to have six figures to even live. To even have a decent uh without struggling. Pretty much, you pretty much have to have six figures to live without struggling here in the United States. United States is very expensive. This is a very expensive place to live. It really is. You know. Now, housing costs in Michigan is just way more cheaper than a lot of other places, but it's still expensive. I've been lived here all my life and I've struggled. It's still expensive. It's the cost of living is lower than a lot of other states, but it's still expensive. What about all your other expenses that you have to deal with? Y- America is expensive. It's expensive to live in America. You know it's cheaper to live in some other countries, some of these other countries. Do you know it's cheaper to live in some of these other countries? That's why a lot of people move to some of these other countries. It's cheaper. It's cheaper. The cost of living is cheaper. United States is very expensive. Yeah. It's supposed to be the richest country in the world, but have the highest property, have extremely third world poverty rates. Supposed to be the richest country in the world, but has third world poverty rates and third world problems where you got thousands and thousands of homeless people on the streets. But this is supposed to be the richest country in the world. What a joke. But anyway, I'm getting way off topic. I wanted to dispel some myths about the food stamp because I was in a blog on Facebook where they showed a video of this lady, this black lady. Why did she have to be black? They showed a video, I think it was a TikTok, of this black lady. She had her cart in a grocery store and it showed a full cart and it said before food stamps. And then it showed another clip with the cart virtually empty with just a few items in it after food stamps. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section if you caught that. But oh my God, people are so hateful. Uh, just completely roasted her and all that stuff in the comment section because she was a black woman. People automatically assume that more statistically more white people are on food stamps than white black people. But we're black people. We're the ones that get stigmatized and stereotyped for being on food stamps. Black people get horribly, particularly black women, get horribly stereotyped and stigmatized for being on food stamps. So the fact that this woman was black, it's like, oh my God, they just let her have it in the comment section. But the common theme across the board, what everybody was saying in this comment section was, people like some of the people were coming in saying, "Oh, people on food stamps this makes me mad because they're lazy and all that kind of stuff." And I went back and forth with a couple of other people. I made a statement on there, but I'm not going to be arguing with these folks. You know what I'm saying? I love a good debate, but at the end of the day, I pick and choose my battles. But that's one of the things that one of the myths I wanted to dispel about the food stamp, the SNAP program. There is a work requirement. In most states, you have to work at least 20 hours a week to qualify for food stamps. Michigan did this back in 2018. A lot of other states done it across the board. There is a work requirement. You have to work in order to qualify for food stamps. People, like I said, and I did another video, and I might link that video up to this one. um, where black men was accusing black women of uh, forfeiting marriage for welfare. So I was trying to dispel that myth as well. I might link that video up to this one. But that is a huge myth that most people on food stamps are lazy and don't work. Most people that get food stamps do work. The only time you can get them when you're not working is if you're disabled and you're elderly or you're in between jobs. But you better be looking for a job. I know in Michigan, if you're not disabled and you're on food stamps, they fully expect you to go out there and look for work. They expect you. They have classes or whatever that you can go to. And oh yes, that's how Michigan got it set up. There is a work requirement, and then it's like that in most states. You have to work at least 20 hours a week to even qualify for food stamps. So people just need to stop saying that. People need to stop saying that most people on food stamps are lazy and not working. And then another myth is that they say, when people they automatically assume when they see somebody's cart full of food in the grocery store that have food stamps, you know, they look, you when you're on food stamps, you get a monthly allotment. You don't get them weekly. You get a monthly allotment. So if you go into the store and you see somebody has a full cart with food stamps that has a food stamp card, um, then most likely that's their monthly allotment. That's their monthly allotment. It's not that you don't get them weekly. You get a monthly allotment. Whatever the amount they give you, whether it's 200, 300, 400, whatever the amount is, that is for the whole month. It's not for the week. It is for the month. It's a monthly allotment. So if you see somebody with a full cart with a food stamp card, 9 times out of 10 they're buying food for the month. People ain't blinging like that with food stamps unless they're scamming the system. But um, in most cases, people work and get food stamps. Okay, that is the biggest myth that there is, that most people are lazy on food stamps. I worked and got food stamps at one time. Okay, it is if you meet the income guidelines, if you're under the certain number that they have, the poverty line, um, then you will qualify. You and your family will qualify for food stamps if you're below that amount that they have set. So the caseworker payment slip or the payment specialist, as they call them, they determine that amount when you turn in your pay stubs and all that, and they calculate all that. They determine the amount of what you're qualified for. But most people work and get food stamps. So I just want to dispel that myth. Most states have a work requirement. Please stop saying that people on food stamps don't work and are lazy. Because most people, there is this thing called the working poor. People work and are still poor. Okay, especially in this economy with food prices skyrocketing, gas prices skyrocketing, and housing costs are skyrocketing. Okay, people are working and they're still poor because these jobs do not pay a lot of money. Okay, now, that's a whole nother video. But I wanted to dispel that myth. Another thing, right quick, this video wasn't really supposed to be that long, but another thing, people say, well, I be seeing people buying lobster tails and everything. Look, if they buying lobster tails, it's because they using a lot of money on that they get for that, because like I said, it's a monthly allotment. Okay, they gonna be short at the end of the month. I guarantee you. If you see somebody buying lobster tails on food stamps, they're gonna run short at the end of the month. I guarantee you they're gonna run short at the end of the month because they're using a big chunk of their food stamps on lobster tails. So I know when I was getting them, I couldn't buy no lobster tails like that. They were too expensive. Okay, so when you're on food stamps, you still have to budget your money. You still have to budget. If you see somebody with lobster tail, okay, well, at the end of the month, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna run short because it's like I said, it's only a monthly allotment. It's what you get for the month. So, you know, if they buying lobster tail, okay, well they gonna run short 9 times out of 10. They're gonna run short on food at the end of the month because they using too much of their food stamps on one item. And if you got sense, you will budget your money. You'll try to find, sales and things like that. And you'll try to help make them food stamps stretch if you got any sense. But you still have to budget, even just like you would if you was using cash. You still have to budget with food stamps. It's food stamps ain't nothing but money. It's money for food. It's money, but it's specifically for food. Okay, so you'd have to still got a budget just like you would if you was using money out of your paycheck. You still got a budget. And if somebody's buying a lobster tail, okay, well they're gonna run short at the end of the month because they didn't spend $40 on one item. You know how much you could have bought with $40. So yeah, people just gotta stop assuming stuff and just think. So that's what I just wanted to dispel those myths about the SNAP program. Most people on the SNAP program do work. Okay. So hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are. And go ahead and hit that like and subscribe and share. And until the next video, be blessed.